fast, f1.8. So because of that, it's like a really great cases where you're gonna require other lenses, and that's why I would say these three here, these are the must-haves. And the reason is because with this one you can get a nice wide angle. Basically, if you zoom out all the way to 12, then you can go to a mid-range lens. With this one, you can zoom in all the way to 100 millimeters, which is again kind of like a 200 millimeter equivalent. And they're fairly fast to f2.8. But this one, if you want that really shallow depth of field, you throw this little sucker under and, you know, open it wide, and it's still sharp, but it has nice and shallow depth of field. It's going to give you that kind of creamy out of focus background. So very nice lens in that sense. Here's another one I tried that's basically the same kind of thing they try to do. It's a Japanese made lens. This is the Voigtlander 25 millimeter. So again, the same focal length as this, but I don't know if you can see up here, drastically bigger. So that's one thing. And it's also fully manual, meaning if you do want to, you know, use some like the out of focus functions in the camera, then you won't be able to use it with this lens. These lenses also all have AF, so that's another good thing about basically when you're using it with this camera. So yeah, so it's full manual. It's solidly built, but then again, it's so heavy that it's kind of like almost. Sometimes I just don't want to even throw it on the camera. And then the reason why I got this is because it's crazy fast. It opens all the way to f0.95, so very fast lens. But I'll tell you guys, it's kind of, in my tests, it's pretty much useless at f0.95. It's so soft, so blurry that it's just, yeah, kind of the way it kind of creates almost this kind of ghost-like effects on the sharp edges, and not the biggest fan of this. So I used it, but I'll probably be getting rid of it. So would not really recommend this one. So I'll put it aside up here. Now here's another lens it's a great lens. Actually, this is the Sigma 16mm f1.4, and I use basically the same lens as this, but on my Sony cameras, because it is a really good, you know, in the E-mount version, it's also a really good lens. It's got AF, and yeah, I mean, it's overall, it's a good lens. I would just say if you're gonna end up getting, especially this one, there's not that much of a reason to get this, because this one, like I said, you can go even wider, 12 millimeters, and you can also go at 60 millimeters like this one, but then also you can go tighter. It's got image stabilization, it's got out of focus like this one, and it's also fairly fast. You know, now if this lens didn't exist, then yeah, you can get this, but it's kind of hard to recommend it simply because of that. So it's nothing wrong with the lens, but I just think why buy just one focal length like this? It's kind of big, heavy. It's going to take up all the space in your camera bag when you can get something that's almost as fast, a little bit sharper. It's not something that I find myself using a lot. Now this one is the smallest of all the lenses, and it's the widest. And I've already tested out a few of these from Laowa. And it's, yeah, this is crazy wide. This is 7.5, if you can believe it. Now, it's minimal distortion. I mean, there's obviously going to be some distortion at that kind of focal length. And it's also f2.0, so it's nice and wide. Great lens, but it's so wide that, like I said, it's, you know, do you need to go often that wide? I personally don't. But if you're shooting something like music videos or things like that, then yes, get yourself this lens. It's not that expensive, and it, you know, it's very small. It'll fit in your camera bag. So this is like a nice thing to have with you if you really need to do, I don't know, you're doing landscapes or you know, architectural shots or music videos or something stylized where you need that crazy wide angle lens, then this will be good. Now, it's not going to look like a 7.5 millimeter on a full frame camera would be crazy fisheye. There's just no way to get around it. On this, again, you got to kind of, you know, pretty much do, you know, multiply it by 2. So, and basically it's a 15 millimeter equivalent to a full frame camera. So it's kind of nice to have that range, but at the same time, I mean, if you have already a wide angle lens, let's say that's like a cinema lens like I have.
You have to understand one thing about directing, that
what is up, folks? Justin Phillip here, and today this is my rundown of the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K Starter Kit. This is everything that I think you will need to properly run this bad boy, at the same time taking full advantage of everything this camera has to offer. You know, I reserve this for cinematography, right? And my GH5 is reserved for videography. Now, a lot of people would think those two terms are synonymous, but to me, they're not, okay? I use the GH5 because it is a video camera. I use it for my videography work, meaning all one-man band, live event, run and gun kind of stuff. I reserve this bad boy for all of my artistic endeavors for cinematography work, meaning